Peaceful greetings, grand rising, everyone. So, I wanted to come and do this video because this is almost the anniversary, the 1 year anniversary of me being assaulted unlawfully. Um, Without any lawful crime after paying a phone bill, literally being assaulted by policy enforcers um, in the marketplace shopping center. And so I actually had like all kinds of videos and different pieces of evidence, like receipts and pictures and things that I wanted to put together in a video uh, for this video instead. However, I'm actually learning a new editing software, and I'm not quite proficient in it enough to like utilize those videos yet. And so anyways, and well, I was using KineMaster on my phone. However, my phone um, was broken, and so I can no longer use that one. So if anybody in the community or any of my YouTube subscribers can assist in uh, getting me a replacement so that I can actually, even make my children's story time videos, because I was utilizing KineMaster, which is actually a phone app, and I attempted to get KineMaster on my laptop to do video editing or whatever, but I haven't been able to successfully get it on to my laptop. And so without the phone that I was utilizing to use the KineMaster, yeah, I haven't been able to do the video editing like I normally do to add the music or whatever to my children's story time. So that is actually why, if people are wondering why I haven't posted a children's story time in a while, that is the specific reason, is because I'm working on finding a solution for video editing. And so far, the only solution that I've come up with is actually learning this whole other video editing program and software. And so it is taking some time because it is a very complex program that I'm utilizing. And so it's going to take some time to learn and then actually navigate and maneuver through it to create, quality videos. And so the easiest and fastest way would be to get another phone so that I could, just utilize the Canva. Oh my God. The crazies are out early this AM. They're out early. Oh, good God. So, anyways, getting back to the video topic at hand, and I would totally and greatly appreciate any support and assistance that anybody could, you know, assist with that, especially that I, do these videos for the community complimentary. I don't get paid by YouTube, and I am currently homeless, houseless, doing all of these story times for children. I mean, all the videos, period. But anyways, the fitness tips, the fine art, the ebook, all of it. So, anyways, um, 1 year ago, almost today, which it will be tomorrow actually, I was paying my phone bill, and I literally paid the almost $70 phone bill. While I was homeless, I was paying a $70 phone bill, so that I could create the videos and things. Because it's been a little bit over a year, I think, that I've been doing the children's story time. And so, anyways, yeah, so it was almost a year, and I literally paid the bill, was in the middle of the parking lot on, well, I mean, not in the middle of the parking lot, but I was in a parking stall or whatever. And security had come up to me and asked me, "What are you doing taking up," and he's moving his hand like this, and he's like, "What are you doing taking up a parking space that a car could be taking up?" And I was like, "Excuse me, first of all, I'm on a business call right now," because I was on the phone and he was interrupting my phone call. I said, and I started recording because I knew when he, I don't know, that when he was walking up and everything, I was just like, he's on some weird stuff, because I was, you know, in the parking lot and there was no cars around me for like 50 feet on just about every side. Okay. And so I literally panned the video around to show that there's no cars around me. And that means that there were plenty of free parking spaces that a car could like take. So, I actually stated pretty much that. And I went on to excusing myself back to my phone conversation, and he interrupted again. And he just was not satisfied, with he had to make something out of nothing. He's attempting to make mountains out of molehills. And it was just harassment from the start. And so he stated that I was loitering. And I stated to him that I had just actually paid my phone bill. And so, no, I wasn't loitering. I was taking a rest, in which I actually had attempted to eat some food that was purchased for me the night before for lunch. And it was something that I don't normally eat, so it upset my stomach and I threw it away. And then I, went on to take a business call as I was resting, and, you know, gonna go to the next place that I needed to go, which was Michael's Art Supply, because there was a specific painting that I was actually already had in mind to create. And so Michael's, I had been there the night before, and I was going to get a specific oil art set, but they didn't actually have that art set in the store. It was one that had to be ordered online. And so they basically knew that I was going to be coming back the next day. I had purchased like a few, like, how do you say, like larger tubes of oil paint, but I was going to come back and get the others the next day. And so anyways, 5:23 when I said that. So they were expecting me to come back. I never ended up getting to go back. So this time last year, this security guard just had to make an issue out of nothing. And he was like, not satisfied, even with me showing him the receipt that literally had the date on it and the time on it from that same day. You know, this was not like 2 days ago and then here I am with the receipt. No, same day, right? And he's not accepting it. Like, you know, then because I showed him the receipt, then he's like, oh, well, property management doesn't want you on property. And if you're not gone, then I'm calling the police. So the whole time, that's what he was planning. That's what his MO was. And I stated to him that that was unacceptable and unnecessary because I still had other business to handle. What that man didn't know is that a lot of the businesses in that shopping center actually were displaying my YouTube and fine art flyers, like little, they were kind of like business cards, a little bit larger than business card size. And some of them actually had 11 by 17 posters, right? And so many different places I was like doing quote unquote business with for my fine art and YouTube channels. Okay. And so, anyways, so he stated that, and then he was like, well, you have to be off property or I'm calling the police. And I said, sir, what have I done? I've done nothing. I paid my phone bill and I'm sitting here in the middle of the parking lot taking a break, right? And you know, he just had it just had to be a problem. So I said that basically because he was like threatening me under threat, duress, and coercion, I was not complying with what he was stating. However, for my own safety, I would need time to get off because I'm in a wheelchair. And so he still even wasn't happy with that. Like, um, because I was like, you know, if push come to shove, I'll just contact his, management and the higher ups and report him for harassing me. So he ends up calling the police, and then the policy enforcers, aka police, come, and the one that comes, he's basically going with the shenanigans of the security guard even after I showed him the receipt. So I was like, oh no, something is not right. And I got a sick feeling in my stomach. I was like, you know what? Let me just go right now. I'll figure out another time and way to get the paint that I need or whatever. And so when the policy enforcer was acting the way that he was, and almost like he was like siding per se with the security guard, even though he should have been like really stating that I was in the right, because I had literally not been loitering. Like, you first of all, as an indigenous, you're loitering on your own land that somebody stole from you. Okay, so that's a little bit much for some people to grasp. But you're going to say that I'm even under your alleged statutes and codes and colorable law, that wouldn't be loitering when I've actually been a patron, when I've actually purchased something. I'm a customer. So there should have been it should have been ended when I showed the receipt. And so when that policy enforcer, aka police, was acting that way, I required him to get his superior out there. Okay. And so when he got back into his car and he got on, you know, his walkie-talkie, or he got on something. I was like, you know what? Rather than, you know, attempting to, you know, fight this, even though I'm completely 1000% right, let me just go, because this does not feel right. Like, this feels like a setup almost. It really felt like it was planned, orchestrated, and I was like, let me just get out of here for my own safety. So I started to, because, you know, nothing had been said about, you know, staying there. Both of them had stated that I needed to leave. And so I was like, let me just leave. Let me just go. Forget the superior coming. I need to just go. So I start rolling off, and the policy enforcer, aka police officer, jumps out of his car and puts his foot between my front and back wheel, debilitating my wheelchair to be able to roll. And when I was gonna just continually roll to keep going, because now I had not done anything to be false arrested, detained, which is a false arrest, nothing. Okay, I showed the proof and evidence of me purchasing something that day. And this policy enforcer, aka police officer, puts his hand on my wheelchair handle, and he is refusing to allow me to leave after him and the other guy had stated for me to leave. Okay. And I was attempting to assert and exercise my right, and to be, because I was in the right by all means and manners. And so I was then basically being false arrested and false imprisoned by being detained there without a lawful crime. And basically that's also kidnapping, because he's holding me against my will when I should have been free to go. And so then he, you know, is forcing me to stay. And then when the other superior gets there, he lies to the superior and states that I refused to leave, even though he held me there against my will. Like, putting his foot in between my wheels the way that he did, I would have had to roll over his foot to continue to go. Like, I would, you know, and that's why, just in case I would have done that, you know, he put his hand on the back of my handle, on the back of my wheelchair, on my handle, so that I wouldn't be able to even do that, to leave. So he unlawfully did that, and then he perjured to his superior about doing it. But prior to the superior getting there, the security guard and the policy enforcer break a brand new Sony camera that I was actually utilizing to take videos, that was gifted to me from an old friend that I had recently, you know, at that time, a year ago, had run into. And they had gifted me this brand new Sony camera because they knew that I was doing the videos. And they were like, oh my God, I have something for you that you're absolutely going to love. Well, the policy enforcers and the security guard broke it when I took it out to record them. And I was recording them from that and my phone at the time. And they were attempting to pull it out of my hands, which they had no right touching me, my private property, my wheelchair, nothing, right? So, the whole situation was out of order, dishonorable, and fraudulent. They used excessive force. They destroyed my private property. They assaulted me. Literally, they picked me up out of my wheelchair and dragged me like 30 feet in the parking lot away from my wheelchair. Then when the other policy enforcers and the superior officer came, I was a very far distance on the ground away from my wheelchair, completely dirty. I have pictures on one of my social medias of like literally when they like picked me up out of my wheelchair, they dropped me on my shoulder. And that shoulder, because I had a white shirt on, it was completely black from the impact and because of how they dropped me and then drug me or whatever. So then they false imprisoned me without a lawful crime. And when they freed me, my cart that I had, they had broken the wheels. The camera was not only broken, the Sony camera, but I took it to and spoke to a military technical expert, like with electronics, a military electronics expert. And he stated that there were components that were missing from the camera for it to work. So they not only destroyed it, they sabotaged it so that it wouldn't work. Even if I had all the pieces, I could have put it back together, right? They stole some of the pieces. So this happened last year, almost to the day. And this is highly unacceptable, especially that the superior allowed for this as well. So either way, I contacted the actual management company. I contacted the security company, management, right? The owner, spoke to the owner of the security company, okay, who stated that he was actually going to check the security cameras. And then when I contacted him back, because he hadn't gotten back to me, he's attempted to put it off on me for why he didn't check them. Okay, so it was basically everybody like attempting to not take responsibility for their companies, for their employees, and for them not doing the right thing. The actual management company never stated to the security guard that they wanted me off property, because I found out from maintenance on that property that the property management wasn't even on site for them to say that to him. They were all the way in Fresno and had never spoken to him that day and about me. And so when I contacted the property management, me contacting them was the first that they had heard of the situation. And they were kind of up in arms because they were like, basically, they knew that this could easily be a lawsuit. Because in all actuality, there was no way, shape, or form that I should have been harassed, number one, that I should have been touched in any way or harmed in any way, or my private property being touched. I was false imprisoned. I was false arrested because of this security guard. I was assaulted, and I was kidnapped and held hostage. And then my private property was actually destroyed to the point that I couldn't even move my cart once I was free because it was broken. And there was a policy enforcer, aka police officer, that was not involved in that situation that I flagged down once they freed me to assist in attempting to bend the bar back that they had sabotaged and broken on a brand new cart, mind you. An absolutely brand new cart that I had just gotten. Literally just gotten. And so it was not in any way, shape, or form with any defect or broken in any way before they got it. So the security company owner was basically trying to cover his you know what. And everybody was just like, right? And then later on in that same year, that same guy attempts to harass me again, actually, right after I stopped recording one of the videos for the series of the not zoo animals, the South American animals, the animals of South America, the nature series. So I had just turned the camera off on the property, taking a video because I wanted to be by this flowery bush because it actually like really looked good. It really went with the book. Like if you look at those videos, you'll see the flowery bush that I'm talking about. And anyways, the same security guard came and harassed me, and I was like, man, I feel like I might have to get a restraining order on this guy because this is crazy. Like he's just trying to harass me. But what's interesting is shortly after this incident happened, that security company hired a misnomer black woman, right? And so that's the kind of stuff that, you know, these companies do, right? So now they're trying to be like, oh, well, we got one working for us, and they want her to get in cool with me, so you know that they can have the inside scoop, or you know, like, you know, they could look like they're not discriminatory against misnomer black people or whatever. So it can't look like it was racial or whatever. But the thing is that regardless of what they do, they were in the wrong, and they have not done anything to rectify the situation. Nothing. That man was not fired. reprimanded. In fact, they were attempting to make it seem like it didn't happen. When I went to the records department of the policy enforcers, the police department, they refused to give me the paperwork for that incident. So they gave me the other false imprisonment records, right? You know, where they've harassed me and kept me hours or overnight or few days or whatever. They gave me the paperwork for that, but they refused to give me the documentation that within being freed that day from them. And then when I went back to the actual records, because they refused to give them to me that day, because I was like, I require copies of these papers that I've autographed because I have rights to have my records. They were like, oh, well, you're going to have to go to records or whatever to get that. We won't give that to you right now. Like, they could have just make a copy, which they could have. And so when I went to get them, then they refused to give them to me, records, which is unlawful and illegal as well. So either way, I'm going to end this. I'll put some pictures and stuff in the community board. I had made posts and stuff on my Instagram and other social media sites about this incident when it happened and closer to the date that it happened. And so anyways, I'll post some of that stuff in the community board since I don't have the editing tools right now to put it all cohesively into a video. Yes. And I need to do a video about, I really need to do a video about Madera, California, and their fraud against me, because literally they're why I'm in a wheelchair. Literally, they assaulted me while I was high risk pregnant and had a dislocated pelvis. And so they also are the ones that initially kidnapped NAZEE and put him in the child trafficking CPS. They stole my car, the policy enforcers, aka police, and put a 30-day hold on it so I wouldn't be able to get it out because the fees were so high after 30 days. So they are responsible for a lot. They also had basically co-conspired with my sister Letitia Holt Payton in Dallas, who is an attorney and has her own law firm with her husband, right? They co-conspired with her, Madera County judges, and other various legal personnel, medical personnel. I mean, it's a whole slew of people that were involved in a conspiracy to disinherit me. And so all of these people are in fraud, and not only fraud, dishonor, but they have done criminal activity to attempt to disinherit me, and they have been using a fraudulent uh, alleged case along with um, along with attempting to have these fraudulent warrants or whatever, in which I'm just going to say some of this now. I actually filed an averment of jurisdiction challenging all levels of jurisdiction. That's territorial jurisdiction, personam jurisdiction, as well as subject matter jurisdiction. I also filed a writ of discovery. I filed a statement of truth, affidavit of fact. I filed so many different lawful documents upon the fraudulent, dishonorable court, alleged court, in which is what is considered by law an acquiescence of all of these documentations, meaning they are supposed to be the ones that are answering these lawful documents in which they have not, but yet they are attempting to move forward as if they are and have answered these things, that they have established that there is jurisdiction, which there is none. I've proven that, and they have not proved otherwise. Okay, so they are in fraud and dishonor, attempting to go forward with this. So may the scales of Ma'at forever be balanced. May they be caught with their fraud. May they be found out by the community, and may the community find them completely and utterly unacceptable by their criminal behavior, and may they pay for their crimes. May they be held to the highest standard. And I will say this, may the scales of Ma'at forever be balanced, and may justice not only be served, these people, every last single one of them, in conspirators, conspiring and co-conspirators, be held liable at their private and public capacities at the maxims of law, which I put them all on notice while all of these things were going on, that not only was I indigenous and autochthonous, I say in brackets ab, because ab means away from. I am an original bloodline of this land. And so they were on full notice, proper lawful notice of that. They also have my DNA as evidence on record that I am who I say I am, as far as being indigenous and autochthonous. My DNA was actually linked to Louisa, and they have my raw DNA. So this is not just, some mumbo jumbo. I had an independent geneticist out of another country who scientifically produced his opinion, which in court, an expert opinion, or the alleged court's opinion, is the deciding factor in law. Okay, that is the decision. The opinion is the decision. So although in Webster's dictionary and, in like regular everyday language, we devalue people's opinions, in court, that's the deciding factor. That is the decision. The opinion is the end all. Okay, so this independent geneticist put together a 10-page scientific opinion in the dissent of myself, Talisa Hartley, and highlighted the specific genetic markers in my DNA that prove that I'm indigenous, and from not only just indigenous, aboriginal, right? Original, I don't really say the ab portion, but an original bloodline of this land. But even more so than that, autochthonous. Okay, that's as original from the land that you can get. Okay, that's like the misnomer Olmec, Mayans, Incas. That's like the way originals. Okay, So my DNA was linked to Louisa, who is one of the oldest archaeological skeletal remains that have been found on this not North American, it was in South American land, but in the Americas. Yeah. So where is their proof? What are they standing on lawfully to attempt to continue when they have not established jurisdiction? Not one type of jurisdiction even. They haven't established one type of jurisdiction because they can't. So they need to just drop it. I actually even filed for them to dismiss with prejudice. I wrote a lawful demand to dismiss with prejudice because they have been in acquiescence. And basically, acquiescence is just like the hood, like let's say in the hoods, somebody says something about somebody and that individual is right there. That individual can speak up for themselves and defend themselves in saying, oh no, that's not true. But they don't say anything. So then everybody who's there is going to say, oh, but they didn't say nothing. So everybody's going to feel like it's true because they did not correct whatever it was that was being said. And if it was untrue, they would have corrected it. So this alleged court has not corrected what I have stated. They have not, because they can't correct what I've stated, because what I stated is true. What I stated is true. And what they are attempting to state is perjury and a lie. And it's fraud upon the court. So I hope another righteous alleged judge from over there sees this and takes action. I have filed everything that was supposed to be filed on my part. I filed all that years ago. But they are co-conspiring with family members because I'm sure they're getting their palms greased for my inheritance as these people have been living off of. They're, because they had this whole little scheme and it was very orchestrated and strategized. But, definitely some of these counties have been, bought and paid for. So they are operating in, fraud and conspiring so they could get a piece of that money. Forged documents, fraud upon the court, perjury. There's it's a whole slew of things. But may the gods of my righteous ancestors, my ancestors, and my spirit team put the right people in place to bring about the convictions of these criminals who operate as criminals and outlaws. They are operating outside of the folds of law when they are actually supposed to be upholding their own form of law for their citizens, in which I'm not even one of their citizens. I am not subject. I am not a resident of. I am indigenous. And so that puts me in the realm of international law and not subject to anything that they got going on. So that's war crimes. That's, human rights violations. That's civil rights violations. That's all kinds of stuff. Okay. You know. But anyways, I'm gonna keep this short and end it here. Peace.